Whoa, it's Monster Monday, motherfuckers. This is the Phantom of the Opera, the Lon Chaney version. This is the only version of the Phantom of the Opera that matters. Don't let anybody tell you any different. Don't fuck with the 1943 one, even though I haven't watched it. I'm going to say don't fuck with it. Uh, don't watch the... Do not. If I catch you motherfuckers watching the 80s one with Robert Englund, I won't hesitate. On sight. And if, God forbid, if I ever catch any one of you watching and or praising the Gerard Butler one from 2005 or some shit, it's over. Game time is done. This is the only Phantom of the Opera that matters. 1925, I do declare it came out, I think. 1925, yes. That was the original release. It was re-released in 27 and again in 29. This movie got a lot of stories about it, right? Okay, so this was made back when they had no idea of like preserving film and stuff like that. It's a miracle that we even have this movie in its state. But there's scenes missing from the original. I think it's the original 1925 one. Has some missing scenes that have not yet been recovered. Then there is the 1927 version, which is when you get like. So this is the best Blu-ray you can get of this movie. Honestly, if you have any other edition, I would say scrap it. Get the Kino Lorber edition of this movie because it's got the 1925, 1927, and 1929/1930 releases of the movie in all their states. And I know this is like a crazy mental undertaking right now, but when you watch the Phantom of the Opera in its other like public domain state, you're getting, so like this is an old VHS release of the film, and this has, hopefully I'm not getting the years wrong, if not I need to do my research, but this has the 1927 version, the 1925, and the 1920 or 1929/30. I don't remember. I think it's 29. Both of those are not in like the most well-preserved state. There's stuff missing from it. The 1929 is pretty much non-existent. It was a sound re-release of the film, and so there's certain audio segments that we have, but there's no coherent or complete film. The 25 version has missing scenes. So the 1927 version is what most people have seen. And this has all three versions of the movie in like their most complete state that we have. Kino Lorber is another one of those labels that anytime you see that they're releasing something, buy their edition over like any other royalty-free edition or anything like that. Lon Chaney is the Phantom of the Opera. It goes back to what I was saying. All these other versions of the Phantom, they don't compare. This man did his own makeup, and I will argue with anybody who says that that Phantom makeup isn't to this day terrifying looking. Like, it is some of the best makeup character effects I've ever seen in a movie. And this is a weird story, but bear with me. When I was young, before I knew about the Phantom of the Opera or anything like that, before I'd even seen the Phantom of the Opera, I had nightmares in my sleep for like 2 weeks about this face. And I didn't know who the Phantom of the Opera was. I didn't know anything about the movie. I just visualized that in my head. Now, then I saw the movie and I was like, what the fuck? That's the dude from my dreams. That's kind of a weird aside, but that's how much this movie like is nostalgic for me. Like, I had nightmares about this fool before I even watched the movie. I don't know if maybe I saw him on like a magazine cover or something like that back in the day. Because when I was younger, there was like this whole like, I think this is what kind of got me into the monster movies, but like when I was younger, I remember Burger King was doing this Universal Monsters team up and they had their toys for Halloween and stuff like that. And I remember just seeing around like that, I think it was like 97 or so, like there was a lot of just Universal Monster stuff. There was like this whole like push for Universal Monster stuff, and that's what got me into horror movies and all that kind of stuff. Like I saw that stuff, and then I asked my grandpa about it, and he watched a bunch of the movies with me and stuff. And so like this movie's great because it's a real connective tissue in terms of like my horror taste and where it comes from. Because I remember seeing the Phantom, I watched it with my grandpa, and it scared the hell out of me. And I think it's a great movie. In terms of a silent film, it's one of the better ones. It's one of the easier ones to watch because I know with a lot of silent movies, it can kind of be like a matter of taste. Like, well, I don't really like silent movies because you have to read the dialogue excerpts and then watch the parts. And, you know, it's so kind of foreign to how movies are now that it's kind of an acquired taste. But I think anybody of any taste can watch the Phantom of the Opera and agree, like, this is a pretty quality-ass movie. Another standout sequence in the movie is the color sequence during the ball. When he, the scene, basically. I don't really know how to better describe it. But that's one of the more standout scenes. It's one of the first color scenes in movie history. So not only is this a great horror movie, it's a very historical one, and it earns my absolute highest recommendation from Monster Monday.